When's that band going to come out with something new, right?
Right?
I think that is something new. That's brand new music from the Lumineers. It is called Ophelia, playing for the first time on the world-famous KROQ, and we are excited to welcome back to the Kevin Bean Show, Wesley, Jeremiah, and Nayla. The Lumineers are here. Hey, guys.
Hello.
So we know what it's like for us. It's always exciting to get new music from a band we love, but what's it like for you to hear Ophelia on the radio for the first time anywhere?
Well, strange once again.
Yeah, it's very exciting to have new music after 4 years. We've been keeping you guys patiently waiting.
Yeah.
What the heck have you been doing?
Touring and
Other than touring the world.
I know, but still, at some point, you've got at least 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Write some new stuff. No?
Yeah. I think there's an unfair standard or something because we write all our own music, so it takes us a reasonable amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Dude, there's a guy in Sweden who will do that for you in like 25 minutes. You just gotta send him $1 million and he'll send you back a song. It's easy
We need
peasy.
his number. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about we got a lot of questions for you since the last time we saw, but we might as well start with Ophelia. Is there anything you are willing to share with us about either the meaning of that song or how it came about or what it means or how it fits into the big picture? Just talk Ophelia for us, if you would.
Yeah, I think that one of the things about Ophelia that was pivotal for this record was that it was the first song we finished in the demo process. So it's kind of like one of those things you build around. And it's a little bit of a relief because you have this monkey on your back. You have all these kernels of ideas and nothing's done yet. And it just feels good to finish something. And then
the first song can be the hardest, right?
Yeah. So it's your first steps towards a new record.
It's weird because some bands say that the current song that we're playing was the last one that they thought of and it barely made the album. Some of them were voting against it. I mean, it just seems like that's the exact opposite of what you guys are saying, is that this one perhaps is just something to build around.
Yeah, this one is super old. I think it's almost 7 years old, and it's infantile. The source material was almost 7 years ago.
Wow.
So
You guys don't work very fast.
Yeah, it takes us.
They tell us
know?
that, yeah. I remember we were at the Hotel Cafe, and there used to be a piano in the back room, and we were playing it before our first record came out, just the hook.
That song.
Yeah, so it's been around for a really long time. It's just, I don't know what took us so long. It didn't make the first record, and then we got lost on the road.
When many of us see the name Ophelia, we automatically, think of the Shakespeare character. Is there any relation to that? Does it mean something in that context or unrelated?
I thought you were going to say the band, the band called
the band song. Yeah, right.
No, I think it just felt musically right, the name Ophelia. And then I started researching the Shakespearean, and I think the flood played into that with Ophelia dying in water. But no, I didn't want to force that. It would be dishonest.
You know that is now going to become a popular name in America for 2016 as a result of your song. You're putting it back on people's radar for reals.
That's cool. It's a beautiful name.
The album is called Cleopatra. It is coming out on April the 8th, and I've seen in recent print interviews that you guys have done that you've talked about how it's a little more plugged in, a little grittier maybe than the first album.
Yeah, I think so. Those are cool adjectives to describe it. We'll take that.
Well, they might have been yours.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool album. I mean, the song Ophelia that we just heard is really cool. I'm really excited about it because it's mostly just piano and Wes's voice with some drums and stuff, and kind of stripped back from the guitar-laden first album. The second album, though, does have a lot of guitar and heavier drum set feel, and it just got recorded in such a really cool sonic way that it feels larger than life and feels a little bit more mature and evolved from the first
What's
album.
the songwriting process with you guys? Everybody does it differently. Who comes up with the germ of the idea?
Well, I think we've realized it's slow. That's one.
Right.
Well, I think, too, it was kind of dictated by where we were playing. So we would play a lot of house shows, a lot of literally living rooms, and eventually that dictated, okay, sometimes there's no microphone. So our first album very much, it just was out of necessity that we would play acoustic instruments. And this time around, we started playing bigger and bigger venues, so we could plug in, and we did have amplification. So I think the songwriting process is affected by where we were playing. And then it usually is, I write most of the lyrics, and then we usually sit down with these ideas that are kind of half-baked, and then we fill them out or flesh them out.
Neela, I want to hear from you about what the second record was like with you. Did you play a bunch of different instruments like on the first one?
Not as much, no. But I think we've been in a ton of rehearsals this week, getting ready to gear up and get back out on the road. And I think we're all just excited to go back to work.
And you're doing a lot of Europe first, is that right? Or
That's what they tell us, yes.
You're not sure? Tell us about the rehearsal process, because it seems to us, and we're not musicians, of course, but it seems to us like you wouldn't need practice.
Well,
No,
that's true with the first record because we were touring so much. But I think learning these songs as a band is a different experience than being in the studio with them. And we just haven't played any live shows for about a year, so it's necessary.
Yeah, one thing that's been particularly challenging about this new record is that we haven't been able to play live to actually test the material to people. So it's a lot of like, you're in your own head hitting play, maybe showing your wife or friends or like your mom, but you don't have any real rapport with fans. Like the first record, we were able to tour nonstop. No one knew who we were. I mean, you couldn't even Shazam us for the first year and a half because we didn't exist. So
Wow.
So at this point, are you nervous again to get out on the road?
probably.
Yeah.
No,
It's
now
early. I don't know how I'm feeling.
I'm pretty caffeinated, so it might just be the caffeine. But I think now that it's done, I can't allow myself to be nervous anymore because I'm so proud of it. I think it's awesome, and that's the hard part: writing and finishing it. And now that it's
That's out of
finally
the way.
done, it's out of the way. So now playing again, I think fans are excited because they'll get to hear the old stuff and then new stuff.
How different
So-
is it to write the song and record it and make it work for the CD and then to play it live? Is it a whole different thing? Do you have to kind of relearn it to do it
I
live?
think it's really different, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of happened naturally the first time around, and this time we had to kind of make it up as we went along. But yeah, it's it's a different beast. We tried a lot of these songs open mic on the first one, so we might put together a set list that, it might be kind of bizarre the first few shows. It's just a heads up. And then
Heads
we'll
up,
kind of
UK.
figure it out. Yeah.
these are the voices of the Lumineers here on the Kevin and Bean Show. If you're just tuning in now, you've missed Ophelia, but we are going to play it for you again coming up here in a couple minutes. Hey, I want to ask you about a couple other things since the last time we spoke with you. And first up is President Obama is a fan of the Lumineers? What?
Yes.
We're going to need more out of you than yes on that one.
I think we all got texts from different friends. According to our sources, he, his people, whoever published a Spotify playlist, which I think consisted of an evening playlist and a daytime playlist. And I think we were the evening playlist that featured our song "Stubborn Love," and that was really a huge honor because, from what I recall, it was mostly old, classic, more timeless, artists that
That were
are
on
just
that list, yeah.
Amazing, yeah. And that was
So it's like Otis Redding, Wilson Pickett, the Lumineers. It was that kind of a list, you mean?
That's awesome company.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you guys think you were being pranked at first? Because if I ever got that kind of text from somebody, I go, yeah, right.
I think my brother just texted me, F you. He just didn't really, he was just like, what else is going to happen with this?
I mean, you never know who's going to hear your music. I mean, once it's out there in the world, I mean, you have fans probably in every country in the world that, some of which you'll never meet. And then every once in a while, somebody high profile comes along like that. And it just has to tickle you to just know that somehow it ended up, on his playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
It's just very bizarre. We got to visit the White House. And
What?
he didn't, but I guess he wasn't listening that much back then because we didn't get to meet him.
When was this that you went?
This was a couple
Probably
years ago.
2013. We're on tour, and they gave us a nice tour of the White House.
You were saying we saw their bowling alley.
Yeah.
His bowling alley.
Oh, that's pretty
That was
sweet.
my favorite
Did
There's
you
a
bowl?
ball with a presidential seal on it.
Do you get to bowl?
Really?
No, you have to be invited.
You get taken down by a
Yeah.
sniper if you bowl?
Yeah.
Yes.
So did they just reached out to you and said, hey, you guys are in D.C. Do you want to come by the White House?
Yeah, I think their tour guides were fans of the band, so they
That's
sort of look at the
awesome.
schedule of who's coming to town and they invite them.
That's
So
pretty cool.
it's a-
That's awesome.
I think a good perk of the job.
Did you get any souvenirs from the White House? Did you steal any silverware or anything?
We did. They gave us some treats though from the kitchen, the cakes.
Yeah.
Really
Wow.
good food.
I got to be honest. That's my first thought is I got to steal something. That's my first thought. I don't know what.
Just a painting or
So,
something.
not a painting. I mean, I'm not not going mural, but I'm thinking something small.
Splenda packet?
Yeah, maybe a White House Splenda packet. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, something you can get anywhere. Does not confirm you were there.
All right, let's take a very quick break. The album is called Cleopatra. The new one from the Lumineers will be out on April the 8th. We just premiered their brand new single, Ophelia. I can't wait to hear it again. If it's okay with you guys, we're going to play it when we return right after this on the world famous KROQ. Lumineers are here in studio with us on the Kevin and Bean Show. That is their brand new song, just premiered here on KROQ, called Ophelia. You know, hearing it the second time, I can tell, and I'm sure you guys know this, that everybody's going to be singing along with that hook, man. When you're performing it on stage, that is going to be a sing along. That's going to be fun.
Does that throw you off sometimes? Seems like audiences have trouble with timing. Some will start clapping, and then the audience gets off with itself, and then it's just a mess.
The claps can create quite a disparaging rhythmic effect. I've actually seen like YouTube videos of Tom York from Radiohead telling people he'll stop the song and say stop clapping, just stop,
because it's throwing him off.
Yeah.
How about that?
Wow.
Doesn't Tom York just seem like just a party, just a fun guy?
Yeah, that's true.
He sure knows how to turn it into an event, doesn't he? You guys are still Denver-based, yes or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
So, big weekend for you.
it is.
Potentially, yes.
And,
Potentially.
I like that attitude. Yeah.
Allie is the only one in here rooting against the Broncos, by the way.
I apologize.
But,
I like you guys.
I'm not exactly. This is Wes, just to clear it up.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly rooting against them, but I'm a New York Giants fan. So Eli has one more ring than his brother.
Yeah, I'm a
Okay, I
Patriots
gotcha.
fan,
I'm
so
not.
we're
That's
not
not the worst thing.
gonna agree on much either.
You're a Patriots fan.
Yeah, this is not going well for anyone.
Sorry.
Don't we deserve a lot of credit rest for letting a Patriots fan be on this show? I think so.
Very charitable thing.
Well, that's Americans with Disability Act. We're not allowed to refuse
I can
a
hear
job.
you. Bean.
Oh, sorry.
I'm right here.
Do you guys ever get a chance to go to games or anything like that in Denver?
Yeah, I did the national anthem a couple months back when they played the Packers.
Oh wow.
Oh, how was that?
Is that terrifying?
That was the scariest thing I've ever done. I'd
Really?
probably never do it again.
How cold
Really?
was it? And did that?
It was actually a really nice day,
Oh, that's
which
good.
was helpful. I thought about that being down on the field because you're already kind of shivering, but
Yeah.
I got down there and I thought, why did I ask to do this? This is
But it had to be
terrible.
like one of the best
It
things
was.
in your life.
It was awesome, and I was
But-
thinking like you have a minute and 30 seconds to be nervous, and you look at the players, and they're a lot more nervous for a lot longer.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure.
Yeah, I saw them ffreaking out on the sidelines.
Yeah, you feel
it
the
makes
energy.
makes you realize why Whitney Houston lip synced the most
Yeah.
famous version of it because
Yeah.
didn't you say there's a big echo?
There is,
As you-
yeah. That was a lot harder than I thought it would be, where you're like getting so much echo from the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also one of those things that like if you do it really well, nobody really talks about it, but if you mess it up, everybody.
Yeah.
talks
Twitter.
about it.
True.
Yeah.
It was
And,
good, though.
and how many times, I imagine this occurred to you a lot when you were rehearsing. Those lyrics are not easy, and there are a
Yeah.
lot of them. And I'm sure the biggest fear in the world, even more than your voice breaking, is that you're gonna lose your place in the song. And now all of a sudden you're a goddamn communist because it's the national anthem that you're butchering.
And we're playing it
right.
over and over and over again
That's
because
right.
that's how it works.
Yeah, luckily I've been in choir since I was a tiny child and have sung it a million times in groups, and so the lyrics I think are ingrained. But
Okay,
it's,
good.
It's a
Should
tough
just
song.
demand a teleprompter.
Now, you really wouldn't do it again?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I
you were
would,
kidding.
for
Okay.
sure. But it was really, really. We perform all the time, and I'm kind of past the point of getting super nervous for things, and I was absolutely nervous for that.
Plus, they gave you that sick jacket that was like 2
I
sizes
got a
too big.
sweet Levi's jacket, just like swimming in it, but I'm definitely gonna wear it on Sunday.
All right.
Spending some time with the Lumineers here this morning. Again, we just heard Ophelia. The new album is coming out on April 8th called Cleopatra. We'll talk about that again in a minute. But I wanted to ask you another thing since the last time we had you in, and that is the Hunger Games song, The Hanging Tree. Tell us the story of that. You got the lyrics were from the book, but you guys wrote the music. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a pretty backwards way of working for us. We typically have the melody kind of set, and then we fill it in like you would play a game of Hangman with the syllables. And this time, everything was set, and then we had to create a melody around these existing lyrics from the book. So
That
and-
seems very hard.
Yeah, well, it was more like let's take a shot at this and see if it sounds good. We figured they were asking a bunch of people, so and there's a lot. It was weird because it was a phenomenon at that point. So there's a lot of people that are going to be really happy, and there's a lot like Star Wars. There's a lot of people that's going to be unhappy with
Yeah.
whatever you do.
It doesn't matter how good or bad.
So it was surprising that it worked out, and then it was orchestrated so beautifully. So I think that helped too. And Jennifer Lawrence singing it
Sure.
never hurts the popularity of it.
There's that.
Yeah, what about that? I mean, Jennifer Lawrence can sing, first of all. I mean, that even ended up getting played a bunch on the radio, too.
Yeah,
I'd-
she's
yeah.
magical, yeah.
I'd heard she was like very nervous about it, and I know they lowered it a little bit. She's got such a nice low voice, but yeah, it worked out really well. 'Cause I heard she was very nervous that she was, oh, I'm not a singer, and I thought it turned
Yeah.
out great.
It's funny to think of people like Jennifer Lawrence being nervous about anything.
Absolutely.
Just, she seems like she's great at
Yeah.
everything and doesn't even have to try.
Yeah, we did SNL with her. Like
Yeah.
she was we knew she was important when we rolled by some fans waiting outside SNL. And we said, Jer said jokingly to somebody, do you know who we are? She's like, yeah, you're the Lumineers. I'm here for Jennifer Lawrence.
Exasperated.
That's sort of worse than them not knowing who you
yeah,
are, isn't it?
Yeah, she's like, I'm over it, okay? But
I
Jennifer
get it.
Lawrence was the most relaxed,
Yeah.
person
That's-
on the set.
That's the way she seems, is that she can handle anything.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
Yeah.
just an
It was
amazing
crazy
girl.
though. She goes through a lot. I imagine at the SNL wrap party at this like fancy dinner, or whatever. There was the paparazzi. These crazed fans were really like wolves, just like ravenous
Yeah,
wolves
it's
trying to
pretty
get
gross.
to her. Yeah, pretty gross.
I think that's a level of fame that no one would want.
Right.
Don't you? I mean, there's such thing as being too popular
Or
in
there's-
terms of just trying to live your life like a regular person.
Maybe
Yeah.
she's built for it, though. I don't know. Some people have that disposition. She seems all right with it.
She does
Yeah.
seem to be able to handle it without losing it, which
Yeah.
is impressive.
It's admirable, yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Indeed.
very young. You don't even remember how much she's done, and I don't know
Short-
how.
short amount of
but
time.
it's crazy.
I think she's like 25, yeah. All right, let's, in our remaining couple of minutes here, you guys, anything else you want to talk about in terms of Cleopatra? Any songs in particular that come to mind, or things that you're excited about people hearing for the first time when you get out there and start touring this? Because, we know a little bit about Ophelia now. Maybe you can tell us some more about some of the other songs.
Yeah, well, the title track, the album's called Cleopatra. It's named after one of the songs on the record. And so that song was also a sort of cornerstone to the record. And it's about this, it's told from the perspective of this woman that I learned about. It's a real story about this woman who, when she was about 16, was proposed to right in the midst of her father passing away, and never said yes or no to the guy. He left. And as he tracked out mud, it was raining. She never saw him again, and refused to wash the footprints off of her carpet. And so I said, like, tell me more. And I learned more and more about this person. So that's a track that we're really excited about, and which is why we named the album it as well. So
Tell me about Gun Song.
it's about guns. Gun Song. These are morbid stories for the morning, but
All right.
well, I went into a sock drawer of my dad's. He had just, my dad passed away in 2007, so he had just passed away. I was going to my job, and I had no black socks left that were clean. I was a waiter, and so I reached into his sock drawer. He still had his clothes in there, and I picked out a gun. I didn't realize he even had a gun, and so it kind of made me think about I didn't make me think about gun laws or gun control or anything.
Yeah, right.
like-
You don't want that.
but it did make me think about all the things that I didn't know about this person, that we all have those things. So it kind of spurred on the idea for the song.
Isn't it so interesting? And I mean, you're so finely attuned to this as a songwriter, but inspiration can literally come from anywhere. I mean, if someone had said to you, you're about to get a pair of socks out of a dresser, do you think that's going to inspire a song? You probably wouldn't have expected it. But
Yeah.
but that's just life, and having your antenna up and being aware of what's going on. I mean, that's so interesting to me. Creative
it's good.
people
It's good.
amaze
It's
me.
almost like a blessing and a curse, though, because you're always kind of, sometimes you're looking and you're if something bad happens, you're almost happy about it because it's giving you something to think about and focus on. So
That's a weird way to
You know.
look at life.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
If
what
something
that-
bad happens might be good.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know what that means about me psychologically, but
You're damaged. I mean, let's be honest. It's the same with this job. If everything goes fine, there's nothing to talk about. But
boring.
if things go wrong, then it's great.
yeah. So
So that's so interesting because, so in other words, you couldn't just sit down with a blank piece of paper and then just start writing a song. It has to come from somewhere, right? You got to have a jumping off point.
yeah, typically, Ophelia was a little different in the sense of it was sort of this hook that just sounded musically right, and then the words that were sung in the verses are stream of consciousness. So it was probably one of the only songs we've written like that, where it didn't really change much about the final product. It wasn't edited and poured over. So that's an example of something where I didn't even sit down and write. It just kind of had these placeholders of lyrics that became the lyrics, which, Neil Young is really famous for just doing that as a matter of form. So, every song's a little different. There's not really a formula to it.
Well, we're very excited to have you guys back, and we want to thank you for letting us play Ophelia with you here in the room today. It was a lot of fun. The album is coming out on the 8th of April. Now, Neela, you mentioned you guys are doing the UK first. That's in April,
We
right?
are.
And you're going all over, it looks like all over Germany and Scandinavia.
I think, Neela, if you go to the Lumineers.com, actually, I think you can
I
find
think
some
you're
tour
right,
dates, don't
Jerry,
you
yes.
think?
All right.
Okay.
Lumineers.com, yes.
And I do see some California dates at the end of May, so that's good
Yes.
news. We'll get a chance to see you guys before too long. Again, the album Cleopatra out on April the 8th. You'll be hearing a lot of Ophelia in weeks and months to come here on KROQ. And Wesley, Jeremiah, Neela, so great to see you guys again. Congratulations, welcome back, and thank you for coming by.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
so
for
much.
having us.